That's the feeling we've all had. How new shoes would make you glad, but the best time you recall when you wore no shoes at all. Back the days.
I'm just riding my bike out to the vineyard now, and I'm going to check on these strawberries that I planted a few days ago. I'm moving my strawberry beds from where they were last year and the year before because they're getting a little overgrown with weeds, so it's time to move them. But I'm just riding by this paddock where the critters have their livestock, and I'm smelling goat. Oh, the goats are way over there. Way over there. It's getting a little chilly, but not that much chillier than summer. And this is the bed I planted. These ones, although I watered them right away, they're getting a little dried out because they had a lot of leaf area. This is late October, I guess, and I have transplanted some strawberries from a bed over there, right actually next to this one. I'm in the vineyard, obviously intercropping in between the rows of grapes. And this is a great place to grow strawberries because I made my spacing on the grapevines, grape rows, a little bit wider than normal. They're like 10 feet wide, and that allows more airflow through the vineyard, but it also allows a little bit more sunlight for planting intercropping in between. I want to plant crops like strawberries that are pretty low to the ground so that I can get good airflow. I wouldn't want to plant things like corn in here because then it will block all the flow between the grapes and I'll end up with more disease on the grapes. But it's a great way of diversifying the vineyard. It also, the strawberries are not as competitive as the grass for nutrients and water with the grapes. So the grapes will grow better if I till up in between and plant crops like strawberries. And then I get, 2 crops at least out of the same area. I'm getting grapes and I'm getting strawberries. This variety here is one called Honoi or something like that. I never know how to pronounce it. I wish somebody would tell me. And so if you know how it's pronounced, let me know. And then I have another variety over here called Madison. I call it Madison. I didn't know what it was. I just got it from a house that I used to live at, and I kept it because it's one of the most delicious, like sweetest strawberry varieties, and produces these huge, super sweet strawberries. And so I've kept it going for probably close to 20 years now. And then I have another newer variety down there, and I can't remember if it's Ann or Annapolis. I have to look up my records and figure it out. But it's one that I planted in my garden a couple of years ago. I got it through a seed catalog, and it's done really well. It's not as good as the one from Madison and the one from this one that I got from Johnny's, the Honoi one. But it still produces big, beautiful strawberries. And I'm trying to plant varieties that will be like early, mid, and late season strawberries, so I can get more of a steady harvest throughout the season instead of it all coming at once and having way more than I can handle. I'm just watering these in by hand for now, and eventually their root systems will become established enough that I can bring the drip irrigation in here and irrigate them so I don't have to water them all by hand. But this is the quickest way to get them started fast. Couple things about strawberries. For one, they always tell you to buy new plants, and I think that's probably just the seed catalogs wanting you to buy a lot of their stuff. Maybe that's applicable for like really large scale strawberry farmers, but if you're just doing a relatively small bed of strawberries, I don't think you need to get new plants every time. You just use the runners from like the current years, and now I'm getting these beds established in the fall here. I find that I can plant them in like September or October, get them watered in and get them starting to lay down some roots and well established before the winter. Then you just mulch them. They come up first thing in the spring, and then they start sending out a lot of runners, especially if you pinch off the blossoms in the spring. But you know, this one variety that I mentioned earlier, I've had going for over 20 years, and I haven't seen any problems with disease. I mean, it gets the same problems that any strawberry would have. It was like a really wet conditions. So pretty much the only thing that I see is mold on the strawberry fruit, and that's the only problem that I seem to have. Another thing about these strawberries is, like, yeah, these look really dead right now. When you transplant them, if they have a little bit too much vegetative growth on top, they can die back, the leaves will die back. But all of these have a live crown in the middle there, and they've got new leaves coming out, and these leaves will probably die back. It's best if not all of them do. But usually if you keep them well watered, they'll send out a new leaf right in the middle, and that will help to get the strawberry reestablished, and it'll send out some good roots and be perfectly fine by spring. All right, well, I hope you liked this video, and don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done that yet, and share the video with your friends. And I'll see you next time. This video, I thought I would open up a bottle of wine from last year that I made, and this is the Norton and Chambourcin varieties in a full-bodied and French oaked wine. So it should be aged for